All right, here we go. So this, I think, is better now. What's this? Oh, okay. Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Stonks Maxxing. So I'm going to go over the tech coverage this week. So we'll call this Tech Coverage Week 3. I think this is from May 25th to June 2nd, 2024. Right. So last week we saw NVIDIA. They reported their earnings and talked a little bit about some of the future product rollouts for their Blackwell computing platform and some new GPUs that are coming out for their data centers. And I think they're also being used or marketed towards consumer products or consumer end markets. In terms of semiconductors, South Korea, they announced a $19 billion package to support its domestic semiconductor manufacturing. And the biggest ones here are Samsung, SK Hynix. They're number 1 and number 2, respectively, within the memory chip industry. So they compete directly with one of our holdings, Micron Technologies. And I really see this as South Korea's plans to subsidize R&D plus manufacturing for South Korea's semiconductor business. And so that poses a big threat to Micron. And I also noted here that I'm not entirely sure how the memory industry works. It seems like it's been commoditized to some extent. That's what Chris Miller thinks in his Chip War book. So still need a bit of learning there. China-based SMIC, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corp, overtook US-based Global Foundries to become the third largest semiconductor foundry business by revenue in the entire world. So it seems like today, semiconductor manufacturing, the foundry business, are all dominated by Asian countries. So Taiwan, which is TSMC, that's their biggest one there. I think they have maybe 2 or 3 other really big semiconductor foundry businesses. And then Samsung in South Korea, now SMIC in China, and I think Global Foundries, which is spun off from AMD's foundry business, that's either number 4 or number 5 by global revenue in terms of semiconductor manufacturing. So it's interesting to see because a lot of US companies are getting funding from the US government through the CHIPS Act. So funding in the forms of grants, in the forms of subsidized loans, and sometimes from, I think, possibly direct investments. I don't think that's actually a thing, but mostly just debts and grants from the US government. Synapse, so this is banking as a service, and then robots, right? So we saw software, or sorry, not software, but Starbucks being delivered across an entire company's headquarters by these robots, these server robots. And so when you think about kind of the next steps or the next big tailwinds in software and technology for the next 5 to 10 years, I think robotics is going to have a huge deal. So we also talked here a little bit about Cisco, Micron, and Apple. Apple, I just talked about the developer conference, and Micron, they actually lost a patent trial against rival Netlist and needs to pay about $445 in damages. So this had to do with their DDR4, RDIMM, and DDR4 LRDIMM products. I think that these are memory modules, and I forgot what the RD stands for and what the DDR4 stands for. I think DDR is dynamic distributed RAM or dynamic data RAM, something like that. I think it has to do with some of the architecture underlying how each memory chip is built, and then RDIMM is the architecture in which you stack those memory chips together to form a memory module, which I think is just straight up a collection of different memory chips. So that's what we saw last week. I think Cisco, I had talked about, I think it was their partnership with a infrastructure as a service company. There was some hyper something word that talked a little bit about a different underlying cloud architecture that replaced or was an alternative to the traditional three-part model of a data center. I think there was networking, memory or storage, and also servers. So you had three core components of a traditional data center, and somehow this infrastructure as a service was able to combine all of those three, I guess, layers into a single product or a single layer, and you could just scale that a lot easier compared to traditional data center scaling where you have to buy or purchase new hardware in order to scale your processing or your data storage or maybe even your networking. I think that's the big idea. So let me see. I was taking a look at, let's take a look at Fireship, see if he has anything.
One of the most tightly held secrets in all of technology is how the Google search ranking algorithm actually works. If the secret ever got out, Google would implode because SEO experts would get every keyword to link to a landing page for fake Viagra pills. Unfortunately, Google accidentally actually works. If the secret ever got out in all of technology is how the Google search ranking algorithm actually works. If the secret ever got out, Google would implode because SEO experts would get every keyword to link to a landing page for fake Viagra pills. Unfortunately, Google accidentally pushed thousands of documents to GitHub of all places, a website owned by their Bing rival Microsoft, that provide an unprecedented look behind the curtain of Google search. As a bit of an SEO guru myself, I was left shocked and utterly devastated when I found out that Google has not been totally honest about the algorithm. In today's video, we'll take a look at what's inside these documents and find out if Google has been living up to its credo of don't be evil. It is May 31st, 2024, and you're watching The Code Report. When Google was founded in the late 90s by Larry and Sergey at Stanford, it was all based on the idea that a search engine could be handled entirely with an algorithm, which at the time was a radical idea that differed from search engines like Ask Jeeves and Yahoo, which relied on unscalable human curation. They wrote a legendary paper called The Anatomy of a Large-Scale Hypertextual Web Search Engine that detailed something called the PageRank algorithm. Every web page has an initial rank, and that ranking grows and improves based on the number of high-quality incoming backlinks. This worked pretty well at first, but eventually SEO gurus realized that all you had to do was spam a bunch of backlinks with the anchor text of your keyword to dominate the extremely valuable top search result placement. However, over the years the algorithm has become more complex, and nowadays you actually have to make really good content to get the top ranking. But that's too hard, and SEO gurus still need to put food on their families. And sadly, many of the statements Google has made about how the algorithm works appear to be lies. It's important to point out that although Google has confirmed that these documents are real, we still don't really know exactly what they are. They could be internal training documents, they could be old and outdated, or it could be a false flag in Google's 5D chess game to protect the algorithm. Officially though, Google has implied that these documents are out of context, outdated, and incomplete. Another interesting point is that the leaked code uses the Elixir programming language, which is not a language that Google would normally use internally. But now let's get into the true lies. In the past, Google has denied the use of domain authority for ranking. However, in these documents, there's a site authority metric that seems to contradict that claim. Another highly sus thing Google has said in the past is that clicks are not a direct ranking factor. Well, we actually learned a while ago that that's a fib during Google's antitrust lawsuit, which revealed a system called NavBoost or Glue, and aggregates a bunch of different interactions like like clicks, hovers, scrolls, swipes, etc. What's a unicorn click? Nav boost was confirmed once again in the leaked documents, which it defines as click and impression signals for craps, so it looks like clicks are actually important, not surprisingly. Another potential fib is that it looks like, based on these documents, that data collected from users in the Chrome browser affects search rankings. Not surprised, and another thing that's not surprising is that backlinks still matter. It's not the simple PageRank algorithm that it used to be, but getting those high quality backlinks is still important. And finally, the most shockingly unsurprising thing is that actual humans are used for rating and whitelisting critical content. Fields like is COVID authority or is election authority are used for this. And through my investigation, I also found this one called WebRef compact flat property value that appears to be hiding the true shape of the Earth. Now, I'm no urologist, but overall this leak looks pretty bad. I can't believe a big corporation would lie to us, but the real tragedy here is the web itself. In the early days, Google was the best way to find interesting websites and forums created by random weirdos, but nowadays the top rankings are almost entirely dominated by authoritative sites like Wikipedia and Reddit, in addition to paid advertisers. And it's like, what is even the point of a website nowadays if AI is just going to summarize your website anyway and never get you a click-through? SEO has been dead for a long time. It's just going to summarize your website anyway and never get you a click-through. SEO has been dead for a long time, and now with this leak, it's even more deader. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
I didn't even realize that.
And we're back in third quarter planning.
Yesterday-ish, Elon raised $6 billion for his linear algebra company, xAI, then predicted artificial general intelligence surpassing humans will be here by next year. Moments later, Meta's chief AI wizard Jan LeCun joined the chat to roast Elon on his own platform, basically implying that his predictions are insane. Elon clapped back, casting doubt on Jan's science abilities. Then Jan was like, "Dog, I've published 80 technical papers in the last 2 years. How about you?" Elon was like, "That's nothing." And then Jan was like, "Well, if it's not published, it's definitely not science." And then Elon's all, "This is one of the dumbest things anyone has ever said." At which point Jan gave him the elitist definition of how science works, thus concluding one of the dumbest debates of all time between two of the brightest minds in technology. Jan and Elon may not agree on the definition of science, but they also disagree on the future of AGI. Elon says it's about to come, but Jan thinks it may never come. Some say that AI is not even real. It's just says it's about to come, but definition of science, but they also disagree on the future of AGI. Elon says it's about to come, but Jan thinks it may never come. Some say that AI is not even real. It's just the greatest marketing scam ever pulled by the linear algebra industry. And in today's video, we'll look at 5 recent examples that are both hilarious and terrifying of when linear algebra goes wrong. It is May 30th, 2024, and you're watching the Code Report. First up, we need to talk about Stability AI, which might need to be renamed Unstable AI. And that's unfortunate because it's a far more open AI company than its competitors like OpenAI, and they create the best open image models out there like Stable Diffusion. It's raised a lot of money, but recently failed to raise more money at a $4 billion valuation, and they're spending money like crazy. In addition, its founder and CEO recently announced plans to step down, and said you're not going to beat centralized AI with more centralized AI. This is the same guy that said in 5 years there will be no programmers left. The unfortunate reality is that you need billions of dollars in cash to burn through to train these large foundation models. Stability AI is not like Microsoft, where they rake in billions of dollars every month selling a subpar operating system, and if it doesn't come up with a way to generate a lot more revenue fast, it could fail. My only hope is that they release Stable Diffusion 3 before that happens. Before we go any further though, I want to tell you about an amazing tool that every programmer should know about called Codium, the sponsor of today's video. By now you've probably heard of GitHub Copilot, but what if there was a better alternative with all the same features that was completely free for individual developers? It sounds too good to be true, but if you don't believe me, install it on any editor right now, then hit Control-I. You now have the ability to write code with AI using a model that's trained on permissive data. It can easily refactor and explain existing code, but most importantly, it understands context. It'll automatically take into account the context of open files and the current Git repo, but this context can also be customized. You can choose other files, directories, and repos to guide the AI to the proper code style and APIs for your project. And it's just flat out fun to use. Use Codium for free forever with no strings attached using the link right here. But now let's get back to failures like Google Search AI. This weekend I was making a pizza, but the cheese was falling off. So I went to Google to see what I could do about this. Gemini, in its infinite wisdom, it told me to go ahead and add 1/8 of a cup of non-toxic glue to the sauce to give it more tackiness.
Right.
And I had to learn the hard way that this is not a great idea if you're concerned about diarrhea. Also, don't ask Google AI about depression or homicidal feelings. Just trust me on that one. But luckily, I have a little secret to let you in on. If you go to Google search and then add this URL parameter of UDM14, you can go back to the old Google search before it panic implemented AI everywhere. It's just pure Google search where your only worry is being bombarded by advertisements. Speaking of ads, the world's most notorious data harvester, Meta, is also a frontrunner in the AI race. They've given us some great open models like Llama. However, in order to train these models, they need a lot of data, and they want to use Facebook and Instagram user data to do that. Now, most people don't want their personal information devoured by AI, so in true Meta form, they create a policy that collects your data for AI by default, then provide a convoluted way to opt out of it. You have to find and fill out this form, which requires a written explanation, then request a one-time password to finally submit it. They want to cover their asses legally, but also really don't want you to opt out. And I 100% guarantee there will be a useless Senate hearing about this in the next couple of years. But our next major failure is a 2-for-1, including the Humane Pin and the Rabbit R1. The Humane Pin, which was famously obliterated by Marcus Brownlee, spent 6 years developing this thing in stealth mode while raising $230 million. And now they're trying to find a sucker to buy this company for $1 billion. The Rabbit R1 is a similar useless product, which I criticized a few months ago because you can do the exact same thing with an app on your phone, but I had no idea how deep this scam actually goes. I don't want to give away the details, so check out CoffeeZilla's video on that.
It's built on a scam.
And finally, that brings us to number 5, GPT-5. OpenAI recently announced that they're now training GPT-5, a new frontier model that will, quote, bring us to the next level of capabilities on our path to AGI. And that statement is extremely disappointing because if you read between the lines, it means that AGI frontier model that will, quote, bring AI recently announced that they're now training GPT. I give away the details, so check out CoffeeZilla's video on that.
It's built on a scam.
And finally, that brings us to number 5, GPT-5. OpenAI recently announced that they're now training GPT-5, a new frontier model that will, quote, bring us to the next level of capabilities on our path to AGI. And that statement is extremely disappointing because if you read between the lines, it means that AGI has not been achieved internally, like everyone was speculating a few months ago when Sam Altman was fired. This week, one of the former board members spoke out about why Sam Altman was fired, and it had nothing to do with AGI taking over humanity. Apparently, Sam Altman was outright lying to the board.
Why you always lying?
And as of this week, he's now the head of OpenAI's new 9-person safety committee. But it makes you wonder if all this pontificating about AI safety is actually just a lie. If fear keeps the hype train going and opens the door to things like regulatory capture and ultimately more money. Artificial intelligence is no doubt a useful tool, but the greatest trick linear algebra ever pulled was making humans think that large language models are actually intelligent. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
So there's some interesting stuff here. Maybe I'll dive a bit deeper, but one thing I do want to talk about here is maybe the Meta thing. So Meta and also XAI by Elon Musk. So Elon, maybe also add the receipts of the Twitter thing would be kind of funny. Launched XAI, a competitor to see. So they have a big team, it seems like. So they have Atom Optimizer. I think this is a optimize. This is kind of like a optimization algorithm, similar to stochastic gradient descent, maybe. So how do you lower the error rates of your model? Batch normalization, I don't fully understand. Layer normalization, I'm not entirely sure either. Transform Excel. Okay, so I guess this was not formed. Okay, I guess this is interesting. $6 billion in Series B funding round to lift company's valuation to $24 billion after the investment. So maybe it would be interesting to see commentary. Crunch base. Yeah, let me see PitchBook real quick. Hmm. It's 2 Sigma Ventures. What's that? Interesting. Okay, for some reason I cannot log into PitchBook. Oh, there we go. So I wonder if there's like a way to analyst created verticals. Mistral, Anthropic, Adept, Cohere. Grok. Station. Let's see. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how to read this. I'm gonna be honest. All right, let's download all of this. Alright, let's see. So click on the Insert tab in Excel add-ins. Alright. Pitch book. There's only 4. Alright, well, let's just see. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, well, that's a lot. Oh. Okay, well, let's take a look here then at, let's go to Visual Studio Code. Alright, let's open up folder called Zang Fund. Call this research. AI.ipy. Okay, so let's import pandas as PD. Let's use Anaconda. So import numpy as np. Okay. Right. Oh shit. So we have that, and then let's add pd.read Excel. Let's do AI dot. Let's do 52,000. Oh, 721,000. Alright, so this is what we want actually. We want, oops. So AI df is equal to, right, and then AI df, we'll call this columns is equal to AI df 0. Can we do that? iLock. Nice. All right. So you did replace. Columns equal to iLock 0. and then AIDF is equal to AIDF. Call this AIDF. Let's see. Nice. Alright, so let's group by subsegment. See, column, I forgot, what is group by scalar? Okay, sub, let's see, AIDF. Sub-segment. Axis is equal to 1. Did 0. Okay, so it's not, maybe I'm doing this wrong. How do we, pandas group by. Oh, do we need to put it into a list? Let's see. Nope. Group refers. So I have 2 columns with the same names, it seems like. I don't think so though, right? So what if we do this? Huh. Scribe. Dot sub unique. Consumer Alright, so what if we just did this then? What if we AIDF call this sub dot lock so all the rows where subsegment is equal to foundation models. Okay, if we did lock. Cannot index with multi-dimensional key. What does that mean? Okay. What if we remove the column AI df dot drop seven access is equal to, I think 0 is, what if it's 1? Nope. Or is it just the number 7? Okay, nice. So it's still here. Huh. How to drop column in pandas. So it is 1. Display. Why is this a multi-index? So I'm going to be honest, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what this means. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So there's some code here, it seems like, from Stack Overflow we could just use. Oh, I think the multi-index is probably coming from here. So AIDF columns. Yeah, okay. Let's do IAT then. Print AIDF columns. So what's the type of this? It's a list. Oh, right. So it's a double list. Okay. I think this should work now. So now I think we should be able to group by actually. Group by, then just use sub segment, right? Dot count. Do dot revenue. That's some. So foundation models, if you're to take a look at, I want to say this is probably in millions, maybe in thousands. This is Q1. Yeah. So this isn't super clear. Yeah, I think this isn't... Okay, this might be in thousands then. Yeah, this might be in thousands. So 808 million in total revenue. Wow. What about computer vision? So it's computer vision, then it's AI core. What if we were to do AI, like the non-public? So let's just see what's in here. DF, we'll call this. Right. I think we should just be able to do this actually. So, okay. There we go. All right. DeepMind, acquired, merged. So revenue, NAN. Oh, wait. Privately held. Hugging Face, A121. Midjourney, Anthropic. So this is the revenue. Enterprise value is non-existent. Last financing size. NAN. Okay, I'm not entirely sure there's too much we can do here. I don't know how trustworthy these revenue, and it's not even the same period, right? This is fiscal year 2024 for AI and Anthropic, OpenAI, and then Midjourney, A121 Labs. It's AI 21 Labs. I don't know what this is though. Okay, interesting. Privately held, publicly held. Is there like a evaluation thing I can add here? Edit tables. Also, Brendan Burke. Let's see, pitch book. So, I wonder if I can compute a estimated so there's some data on last financing side for select top 12 entities. Damn. Okay. I don't think I can. I don't think my page book is good enough for it. Alright, so I'm gonna give up on that, but say this though. So this marks one of the larger fundraising deals for privately held AI companies in the foundational model space. So what I mean by foundational model, I think these guys are trying to train a model that other people can use as a foundation on. So this is kind of like building a model that you're selling to other people. So inflection seems to be another big one. Rika AI was bought by someone. Instadeep. Midjourney. So Hugging Face is also a big one. Stability AI. Other big players here are Anthropic, Anthropic Stability AI, Open AI, Midjourney, Mistral AI seems like another big one. Stability AI. Does that even spell Midjourney? Evaluation of foundational model companies. Let's see evaluation. Okay, so it seems like there's a few big ones with a lot of value here. Let me try to see. So Anthropic, Stability AI, Open AI, Midjourney. Hugging Face, which I feel like is a bit different though. No. Cohere. One, two, three, four, five, six. All right, let's create a little graph then. So we'll call this the foundation model evaluation dict. All right, so we have, I think, Open AI. and they are valued currently at 86, and this is in millions, so let me add this, or in thousands. Could be in millions actually. Open AI 80 billion, right? Yeah, so it's gotta be in millions. Okay, and then there's also Anthropic. Plus XAI 24,000. So, yeah, and Anthropic is around 18,400. And okay, so Mistral AI is a big one too. This one is 6,000. And then Hugging Face, this one is 4,000, so 4 billion. Let me also add the dates here. So this is January 2024. May 2024. Anthropic, so it's March 2024. Mr. AI, question mark, doesn't say. Hugging Face, August 2023. What are the other ones I had here? So source. Pitchbook. Okay, so Hugging Face, and then we have Inflection. This is around 4 million. This is June 2023. Okay. Stability AI. August. Okay, so this is 1,000. And then we'll create a little bar chart. So we'll do this. We'll create a data frame first. Call it foundational df equals pd.data frame. Call it foundational model dict. Oops. Oh. Oh shoot. Yeah, wait, hold on a second. I think I might have messed this up. I think we need, oh man. So what if we dot zip this? For x, y, in oops. Print x. Let's see. C dot items. Maybe you could do this. Okay. So for, we'll call company valuation. All right. So companies valuations. All right, companies append company, and then valuations dot append valuation, right? Call this companies, company, and then company valuation. Oop. Okay, so foundational models df dot plot. So kind is equal to bar. Wait, let me see this display. Right. Okay. How do we get the x is equal to company? So x is equal to x. We'll do this. So we'll do fig x is equal to plt dot subplots. Let me import from matplotlib.pyplot import import pyplot as plt, I think. Set y label, call this valuation in millions. Source source plus x dot sets title, so call this valuation of privately held foundation model businesses. Companies. Yeah, it would be actually very nice if we're able to kind of stack these all together. How do you do that actually? So, how to stack, how to create a stacked column chart matplotlib. From data frame. Stacked is equal to true. Let's see. Okay, so it's not working. Let's see, pandas data frame plot. Vertical bar plot, histogram density. What does histogram look like? No. So it's by frequency. Area bar. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. It's not exactly what we want. Alright, what if we did transpose then? Teed up. Okay, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT, maybe this knows. Wait a minute. This is saying we could use bar H, but I feel like this is the same thing. Wait a minute, let's see. Oops, this is way too big. So 4, maybe 8. Two, 6. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of interesting. Honestly, these numbers are really close too to the actual valuations. How do I place the legend outside of the chart? Oh, nice. Okay. Let's see, so apparently this is what we could do. Oof. Wait a minute. Yeah, doing this with Python is a bit too hard. What if we just did this? Sorry, so to Excel. XLSX. Okay. Let's just open these. Open recent. All right. Let's insert chart. Can we add a 2D chart? Or sorry, a stack chart. So this is the same thing. All right, wait a minute. Border. Let me see if you can do this in Google Sheets. Stacked bar chart. I don't know how to make this chart in Excel or Google Sheets.哎，
你在睡觉没睡觉？
没有。
今天没事了吧
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
？OK。
Thank you.
让空调啊。
Yeah, sure. See.
不热，
I see.
给你关了，开开空调。
Okay.
吃过饭了吗？
Yeah, chilla.
中午吃的啥呀？
Chilla their sandwich.
三个鱼。
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we don't actually have to add the chart here, but we could see that right now I think OpenAI, XAI, Anthropic. Yeah, so they've pushed the valuations to, it seems like 100. $100 million or so. So it's 140 billion industry. So Anthropic, what do we have here? Stability. Face Mistral AI. Inflection AI. And stability. Alright. Combined, these privately held companies have a 140 billion. Yeah, so that's a lot. Just for some context, yeah, what can we compare this to? So if we copy cell output. Oh, what the? Okay, so can we just text value. Text for bar chart pandas data frame. Okay, this is very interesting. Let's see if this works. Ax.bar label, ax.containers. Does it seem like this works anymore? do I annotate our plot value on plot for pandas data frame? Alright, well, it seems like there's this pretty complicated thing. So how do I modify the text size? I think I can make this smaller, right? Font size, that's what it is. Maybe. How do I reduce the space between the number and the bar? Okay, so this is the XY, I guess. Let's do 8, 5. All right. Oops. Let's see. Yeah, what companies by market cap? It's screen. Trading view. Stock screener. Primary listing. Yeah, you know, not all of these are super Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to compare this to, because $140 billion valuation. When you think about it, I don't know if it's large or small or whatever it is. I don't know what exactly to compare it to. I think maybe when you take a look at see. Market caps of sectors. Okay, yeah, when you look at Microsoft, Apple, and all of those, I mean, that's yeah, okay, so I'm not entirely sure what I should compare this to. I'm gonna think about this. But $140 billion, is that a lot? Well, when you think about the market caps of Meta or Microsoft, Apple, these guys are all over $1 trillion. So if you combine those three, you have around $5 trillion. $140 billion valuation. That is maybe like 2-3%, 4% of that 5 trillion. But could you say these foundational model companies are overvalued? I'm not entirely sure, right? I don't know exactly how much revenue OpenAI has. Compare with other sectors. Total addressable market. Okay, so let's take a look then at, I think the second one was Meta AI. policy. Every imaginable damn. Meta AI. Oh man. Video on our products. This includes what you click, posts and photos and messages you send if you use Intune.
At Meta, we use information to provide you with a more personal, secure, and meaningful experience. But where does that information come from? The information we collect comes from a variety of sources. One is your activity on Meta product, apps, services, and hardware. Things like liking an Instagram post, playing a game on your Meta Quest 2, buying something through Marketplace, or sharing fundraisers on Facebook all generate information. And sometimes businesses also share information with us, like your activity on their websites. They may also share experiences you have offline, like signing up for a rewards card with your email address. This makes it easier for them to share promotions, product information, and other ads with you through our apps consistent with the choices you make. We know that people want to understand and control what we do with this information. That's why we offer a number of ways to help you personalize and manage things the way you want. For example, maybe you've been shopping around for a new mattress and finally found the one. Now that your hunt is over, maybe you don't want to see ads from certain mattress brands anymore. If so, you can go to Ad Preferences and hide ads from those specific advertisers or manage your ad settings more generally. Or remember that rewards card? By signing up, you may start seeing deals for their products popping up. Using Off Facebook Activity, you can view a summary of the information Facebook receives about your activity on other apps and websites and choose to disconnect it from your account.
Yeah, this is an interesting video. I might stop using Instagram, or I might try to manage this on Instagram, but this is... from Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, MetaQuest. Oops. Can I make this, can I center this? Yeah, so that's interesting. Semiconductor news. Intel news. Video. Sure. Mm-hmm. AMD. I don't think I added this one. So, China. chip fund. Okay, so yeah, this is actually pretty important here. So I'll say this. China creates a 47.5 billion chip fund to back domestic semiconductor design and manufacturing. Commentary. Last week, South Korea announced a 19. So I think this is the third. The third one, right? Okay. Oh yeah, I'm gonna come back to this real quick. Gonna use the bathroom right now, and then, but I think this might be the third fund that was created. South Korea, they had their own fund announced for 19 billion, and I think we also saw that Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, they ended up becoming the third highest revenue generating foundry in the entire world. So yeah, there's going to be some interesting things coming up. Okay, let me see if I can sign in. Damn. Alright, yeah, I don't even think I have access to it. Reuters. CESSN CN Semiconductor Index. Okay. The third fund that China has set up to bolster its domestic semiconductor capabilities. First fund was raised in, was it 2014? So 138 billion won. It's probably around 14 billion USD. So around 14 billion. And second was raised in 2019. 204, so about wait a minute, I think this is 20 billion. And this is probably 30 or 30-ish billion. Oops, around 30 billion. The new fund most of the financiers are state-owned agencies. Where and the goal of this is China Integrated Circus Industry Investment Fund. The main governing body is the China Integrated Circuit Industry Investment Fund. Made in China 2025. So I guess, let's see. I want to say from a technology standpoint, made in China 2025, the big idea here is China wants to be self-sufficient on domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Okay, focus us on the entire manufacturing process, not just innovation. Gases. So how should I word this? Most of the financiers are state agencies. Where are they getting this money from? But the main governing body is the China Integrated Circuit Industry Investment Fund. So this is all part of Xi's Made in China 2025 plan to ensure that China becomes self-sufficient as a self-sufficient semiconductor industry can design and manufacture any manufacturer leading technologies to compete with the West. To compete with the West. Okay, so from it's or in our holdings, I think, so Apple, Micron, and Cisco, I think they have limited exposure. Historically, the Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation and Hua Hong Semiconductor, let's see. In large beneficiaries from previous grant/subsidies from the previous funds. Just last week, we saw that SMIC is now the world's third largest foundry by revenue. So what does this mean though, right? There's going to be a lot of money. Does the Chinese have the ability to actually catch up? So I think right now what had happened was, I want to say SMIC was able to produce 2 nanometer cores process. Yeah, so I think this refers to the size of transistor, 2 nanometers. It's basically super small. Okay, so 3 nanometers. So 3 nanometers is maybe the density deeper dive. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I have enough time. Let's see. So maybe a question to ask here is, what is the standard terms process today for TSMC? How far is SMIC? How far is Intel/Global Foundries? Because I think those are the US based ones, right? How far is Samsung? So what's how does this affect Micron/Apple? I think Micron does produce their own. They have their own foundries for memory chips, which I think is a bit different in terms of manufacturing compared to logic chips like CPUs or GPUs. So what does what are the applications of newer smaller transistor chips? So 2nm versus 3nm versus 5nm. Okay. Yeah, so maybe that's something I could think about. And let's take a look at some Apple news. Apple Insider. Oh, so this is the news. Interesting. Okay, so this is interesting, right? So, Apple on case antitrust App Store antitrust case in China. Today, Apple charges 30%. So 30% what exactly? Insight Partners. This is a private equity firm, right? Who's this guy? Okay. A 30% commission for any transaction made within the App Store. People, developers call it the Apple tax to Insight Partners. Oh, interesting. Okay. And any apps downloaded purchases for apps downloaded through the App Store. Basically, all apps on an iPhone. Match group. Right, so I wonder Apple CC filings, do they show whether or not pretty recent. Let's do app store. Apple App Store fee revenue. Services for 3 months ended 2024. All right, let's take a look then at their annual filings. Okay. So they don't go. Yeah, they don't really go deep into the breakdown. So how does the deep water people do it? How do they do it then? It says Apple doesn't directly report its App Store commission revenue. On its SEC filings. Instead, it reports revenues under the services segments, which includes other categories. Advertising, Apple Care, cloud services. And I think this is what Q. November 3rd. Q2. Fiscal year 2024 Q2. Reported 23 billion in its services. And honestly, I should say this is likely that more than 50% of that comes from App Store commissions. Let me see if ChatGPT knows. How much does Apple make in App Store commission revenues? business of apps. App revenue data. Still, business of apps estimates that there were 27 billion in apps store commission revenue in 2023, representing see 383,000 20 divided by 5 to 7% of total revenues. For the year. So this marks a use for Apple and Kindle Drive. Additional say 1 billion, 2 billion in value next Yeah, so I'm just, maybe this is kind of made up, and honestly, it is. I'm not really basing it off anything. Just historical growth, I think of 2 to 3% of consumer spending on Apple products or on the App Store. And when you have that for something that's already at, I think, 80 to 85 billion in total revenues, I mean, that's about 2 billion in additional value per year. And then when you think about how much, so let's see, I think China's smartphone market is dominated by I want to say China's smartphone market is dominated by non-Apple products, or not necessarily dominated, but it does have more competition with Oppo, I think Xiaomi, and Samsung. So in the Americas, we can see that Greater China is less than half in terms of net sales. Okay, but I'd assume that China still probably represents, maybe in this case, if you were to add everything together, actually, let's see, so smartphone market share in China. Oh, so let's see. Oh, does Huawei also make phones too? So Apple iPhone market share. Okay, so Vivo, Huawei, Oppo, Xiaomi. Okay. Rebound and App Store spending continues to rise. Okay, that's fair. So this outcome is gonna okay. Two to 3% annual. Maybe 1.1 to 1.5. 2 billion. That's fine. Okay, so Micron news. Okay, let's see anything else with Micron. Okay, so this is what we saw last week. Yeah. Micron Japan. Hiroshima. Trend Force. Daily Industrial News. Yeah, I might not be able to read this if this isn't Japanese. Oh man. Let's see. It's Nikon. Daily Industrial News. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure how much you can trust this, but I will put this trend force. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say that it works. I think it should then. Let's see. I'll just use this. So, micron. Building a new plant in Hiroshima, Japan, for the production of dynamic random access memory chips. Plans to be operational early as late 2027. So that's about 4 years from now. Trend force / daily / trend force. Okay. Oh, we got one view. Let's see. Alright, so Micron is building a new plant in Hiroshima. So is Japan, let's see, semiconductor subsidy. Interesting. So I'm surprised that Micron isn't doing their manufacturing in the US, unless they are doing it in the US and also the Japan at the same time. Okay, what's this? Oh man, I don't think I'll have access to this. Come on. Subsidies. So just like Japan is a leading country in the was once the leader in memory chips in the 1990s, 80s, and 1990s. So with companies companies like Sony, Nikon, producing low cost, high quality chips. Now Japan has fallen behind to South Korea, Samsung, and SK Hynix. Thousands. DRAM and so flash chips. Commoditized memory chip market. So NA commoditized. Yeah. Even though Micron is a US based company, Japan is reports say that Japan is planning on subsidizing 1.8 billion of the 5.1 billion investments needed to construct this new plant. $1.3 billion. So I think that's around 20%, right? Then 20% cost. So 1.3 divided by 5. So around 25%. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, so the one big question I have is Micron, with this new facility, right, is there currently a supply shortage for Micron? Or is it possible that Micron could earn or increase their market share in Japan? Possibly. Micron Technologies. Let's see, Japan, call it memory production. Was announced. Okay, so this was announced back in 2023. So is Japan's memory market fragmented? Japan's memory. Okay. Okay, so what is the Japanese Kyoxa in Western Digital to boost? This ASP decline. Average selling price. From haven't dug too deep to the Japanese market, but it does seem fragmented. with few domestic. So I feel like there's Nikon, Sony, what is it? DRAM. So does the Sony? Okay, does Sony even produce? Sony produce memory. Or NAND? Oh, SanDisk, I think. Oh, I see. I guess those are your SSD cards. So I might have been wrong. Maybe Sony wasn't really a big. Okay, so Hitachi, Mitsubishi. NEC, Nippon Electric Company, Toshiba, right? Hitachi. Fujitsu. So, what is white space in finance? Because I saw this used in a few reports. Providing a strong opportunity expansion opportunity for Micron. Okay, so I'd say it's pretty good. Cisco, don't know what to see here. Cisco news. A memorandum of understanding agreement to jointly establish design and engineering. So, oh man, I remember learning about at a high level what edge computing was versus cloud computing, right? Cloud computing, I think I somewhat understand. It's just the idea of using servers or data centers that Amazon or Google or Microsoft will manage for you. I think edge computing, okay, edge computing might refer to processing data or processing instructions or just generally compute on a device, so like your iPhone, or in my case I'm streaming on my computer. But I think one of the examples that was used was a car, a self-driving car, and edge computing in that case refers to the idea of processing of spatial information. So really that I'm using some big words here, but it's just the idea of, okay, a car, in order to drive by itself, it needs to look around itself, and it needs to see where different objects are and currently its location relative to those different objects. And it needs to understand if that object is a car or if it's a person or if it's a medium. I think that's what you call the thing in the middle. And so it has to do all of that vision task and then process it on the edge of compute, which I think is just processing it on using its own computers, or it's using its own chips instead of making a request to some data center 30, 40, 100, 200 miles away and then receiving the information back. You're doing all of that on the car instead of in some data center. I think that's the big idea of edge computing. So that's, yeah. Let's see. Let me see. Okay, I might actually have to go eat too. Let me see real quick. I'm gonna be back in a sec. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go eat some dinner right now. I'll try to finish this up soon. If not today, then definitely tomorrow. But I think I might stream a little bit after this. Yeah, I think I probably will stream a little bit after this, and then I'll see if I am able to finish. I want to look at Intel, and I also see with Intel, I spent so much time trying to understand some of the technical details behind the manufacturing process, and I just got destroyed. It's so technically complex, and as someone who hasn't taken chemistry since high school chemistry like 4 or 5 years ago, and I've never taken an engineering course. Yeah, this is kind of all super new to me. Yeah, I guess that's where Peter Lynch, buy what you know, invest in what you know, or his idea kind of plays here. And also, I guess Warren Buffett also does sort of adopt that methodology. So in that case, I think what I might do is end this stream here and continue the grind in maybe continue the grind in a few minutes. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.